Hello everybody and welcome back. As always, I am Mateo311 and this is your channel for everything VR related. Today, we're going over all of the VR games releasing in the month of October, and surprisingly, it's looking pretty stacked. So it doesn't matter if you're on PlayStation VR 2, PCVR, Quest 2, or soon the Quest 3, there's definitely something for everybody. Now, there are of course links and timestamps if you want to skip ahead, but before we jump in, this video is brought to you by my sponsor, Kiwi Design. Have you added about 15 accessories to your Quest 2 and it no longer fits in the official case? Well, don't worry because Kiwi has you covered. Kiwi's brand new carrying case guarantees to fit 9 accessories. There's pockets for extra cables, an ample amount of padding, and a hard exterior to help protect your device, plus a nice sleek black water resistant design. There's a link in the description to their website, and don't forget to use discount code Mateo311 for 5% off and to help support my channel. Okay, before we get started, there is of course my quick disclaimer. All of today's release dates came from either Meta, the Steam database, or from the developer themselves. They are always subject to change, and sometimes I'm not at liberty to give away the exact release date. So, just saying that, and in case I miss any games, let me know what they are down in the comments. Well, let's jump into our first title, The Rising Dead. That's right, we're getting yet another zombie shooter game in VR. Luckily though, there is a bit of a twist here, as you have to survive 3 days in a mall packed with the undead. You'll have to scavenge for food, rescue fellow survivors, and of course smack down some zombies. So if you just can't get enough zombie killing action in VR, go ahead and check out Rising Dead. Now next up is an absolutely fantastic co-op dungeon crawler. Dungeons of Eternity allows 1 to 3 players to teleport into a unique sci-fi/fantasy world and then battle an array of different creatures with physics-based combat. There's nearly 50 hours of playable content, a full leveling system, over 15 different enemies including some epic bosses, and finally lots of unlockable cosmetic features. Now I've been playing Dungeons of Eternity for a few weeks now and I absolutely love it. I will have a full review up on this game on October 5th showing off everything I'm talking about. So make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss that. But let's get into our next game, Big Ballers Basketball. Currently available from App Lab, it looks like this sports simulator is getting a full release. It features realistic movement, dribbling, and shooting mechanics, plus an array of real-life locations. It's designed with the intention to be an authentic simulation, but also easy to pick up and master the basic skills of basketball. So if you find yourself missing the court during these upcoming winter months, you might want to check out Big Ballers Basketball. And on the topic of simulations in App Lab, we also have Pianovision. Pianovision goes beyond just gaming and is designed to teach you how to play the piano in a mixed reality environment. It's designed to work with an acoustic piano, digital piano, or no piano at all, giving you a virtual one to play with. With the Quest 3 releasing in the near future, this right here might be one of the best possible use cases for AR. I do happen to have a piano in my house that I've never used before, and I'm definitely going to put this application to the test. But let's move back to actual games with Galaxy Kart VR releasing on PC. Now I've heard some mixed stuff about this title. Everything from it's the worst VR game ever made to it's incredibly fun but just needs a little attention from the developers to iron out bugs. What's true? I don't know, I haven't tried it, but here's the rest of the information on this game. Galaxy Kart VR is your typical Mario Kart clone. Choose from a selection of unique characters, all with their own special power-up ability, jump onto one of the 4 unique tracks, and utilize an assortment of power-ups to take out your enemies and get into first place. It's a pretty standard formula that we've played time and time again, but no one's ever really nailed it in VR. Dash Dash World was a pretty good attempt, but failed to hold my attention long term, so let's hope Galaxy Kart does it a little bit better. Now moving on to a title that I know is absolutely fantastic, Ghost Signal, a Stellaris game, is coming to PCVR, and I highly recommend this roguelike to everyone. Ghost Signal puts you in a world trapped in a mysterious time loop, and it's your job to venture further and further while continually upgrading your ship in order to figure out what exactly is going on. Each step further into space is filled with challenging enemies, gigantic bosses or space entities, or an array of other unique encounters. I found the overall gameplay loop of Ghost Signal absolutely addictive, and it's easy to pump 20 or more hours into this game. But if you're looking for something spooky to play for Halloween, we have the Railway Horror DLC for the free-to-play narrative experience, Dagon. Inspired by H.P. Lovecraft, the Railway Horror DLC gives you a brand new nightmare to dive into. It's a fully voice-acted 10-minute experience that might just put a shiver down your spine. Now the base game is completely free, but these DLC packages are $4 or $5 each. Now, next up, we have BLINNK and the Vacuum of Space making its way onto the PlayStation VR 2. Designed as an autistic-friendly adventure title, it's designed not to overstimulate or frustrate the player. It's just a fun spacefaring experience that's meant to be relaxing as you collect some creatures or complete a variety of different tasks. Now, I do personally have some family members that are on the spectrum, and I understand some of the difficulties they experience, so I was really happy to see a game like this was developed. But if you are up for a challenge and some violence, we have the story-driven shooter Genotype. Genotype drops you in an Arctic research facility that's been overrun by some monstrous creatures. Luckily though, you have a high-tech glove that can print living organisms that you'll utilize as weapons or survival tools. It's definitely an interesting concept, and I tried an early beta that showed a lot of promise, but I really need to jump into the completed game to see what it's all about. Now for the non-violent among us, we have Samba de Amigo. Similar to something like Beat Saber, but instead of lightsabers, you're getting a pair of maracas. So prepare yourself to shake through over 40 hit songs and strike the occasional pose. I recently demoed this title on a Quest 3, and while it was a lot of fun, it's just not for me. Something a bit more my style would be our next title, the physics-based beat-em-up Vreken. Described as a self-defense trainer that allows you to punch, kick, and even headbutt your enemies, Vreken looks like it could be a blast to play. The enemy's fighting moves were motion captured, you can block and counter attacks, and even enable slow motion. And the ragdoll physics are entertaining as you knock out your enemies. If you're interested in checking out this title, there is a demo available right now. And speaking of demos, we're also getting one for the puzzle title Tinhearts later this month. It'll be your job to steer these toy soldiers across varying obstacles with an array of different tools. The gameplay reminds me of the classic title Lemmings, so I can't wait to try this out, and it also appears like there's a fully developed storyline. Now moving beyond demos, Wizards The Dark Times is actually getting a new DLC this month. The Brotherhood update is bringing co-op to this fantasy adventure title. So soon you and a buddy could start taking down hordes of enemies with an assortment of gesture-based spells. Now sadly, I've actually never tried the original Wizards or Wizards Dark Times, so I'm definitely looking forward to giving it a try with one of my buddies. Now while I might not have experienced the Wizards, I have demoed our next title, and that's The Seventh Guest. The Seventh Guest is a remake of a classic horror puzzle title. Now I actually played the original title back in 1993, and not only did I find it extremely challenging, but it also scared the crap out of me. Now from what I've already seen, it looks like the new version can do the same. Now I don't want to oversell the horror aspect, and while it is a bit creepy, the original game only really scared me because I was pretty young at the time. Now the classic title was known for using actual filmed footage, and not only was I really happy to see them do the same thing in the VR version, but it also looks absolutely fantastic. So if you're interested in a horror storyline and some challenging puzzles, definitely go check out The Seventh Guest. Now our next title might be a little early in the season, but how does a good old-fashioned snowball fight sound? Well, in Snow Wars, you're going to take it to the next level and not just use snowballs, but instead there's snow cannons, snow machine guns, and even snow catapults. So jump online for some 8-player battles in this non-violent, blood-free shooter. Now that sounds like some good casual fun, but I'd much rather dive into our next game, Dungeon Full Dive. You see what I did there? Moving on from my bad pun, this game is designed to be the ultimate tabletop experience. You can build out full worlds and whole adventures with an array of DM tools. But what makes this title uniquely special and well suited for VR is the ability to drop down to character level and actually embody those players. For many of us Dungeons & Dragons fans, this is basically a dream come true, and I can't wait to try this out. Now, if you want to know more, I'm sure I'll cover this in the near future. Now, there's still a bunch of additional games rounding out the end of the month, but the one I'm most excited for is Ghostbusters Rise of the Ghost Lord. This story-driven 4-person co-op ghost hunting title looks like it's gonna be a blast to play. As of right now, I think it will be something similar to a more kid-friendly version of After the Fall, with some additional added strategy in the form of ghost hunting tools, plus a much deeper storyline. Now, while I do enjoy my blood and guts, I'm willing to go without them if the gameplay delivers. But if that violent streak creeps back in, we do have the creepy looking roguelike Foglands to check out. Not only is this game a combination sci-fi western, but it also blends a few separate genres like dungeon crawling with an action roguelike, plus a story-rich atmospheric world. Now this is another title that definitely intrigues me, and I'm sure I'll get around to it eventually. Now continuing with unique experiences, we have the mixed reality title Monsterama. Narrated by Andy Serkis, the actor known for doing some amazing CGI characters such as Gollum. He's about to take you on a journey through a museum filled with monsters. As a mixed reality experience, a door will open up in your actual living space, and then there'll be an elevator to take you to such creatures as a werewolf or the Kraken. Sign me up for this one. I don't care if it's scary. I'm too intrigued not to try this game. But a title that may be too scary for me to try is The Devourer: Haunted Souls. The Devourer is a survival/psychological horror game that allows for 5-player co-op. You'll be investigating a haunted forest with the goal of lifting a curse. Are you and your friends up to the task, or will you be the next victims to lose their souls? This looks like an absolutely fantastic experience to play with your friends around Halloween, and obviously it's reminding me a bit of Phasmophobia. Now this definitely looks a little bit too creepy for my liking, but let me know down in the comments if you want me to give it a try. Now another game I'm really looking forward to is Journey to Foundation. Based on the absolutely fantastic stories by Isaac Asimov, we're jumping into a fantastic, lore-rich sci-fi world in the distant future. Humanity is currently under the stranglehold of a dying empire, and the Foundation is trying to provide a new path forward. Now this story-driven adventure title puts you in the role of a spy, tasked with infiltrating some Imperial deserters. Now the decisions you make and the direction the story takes is up to you, but there'll definitely be plenty of exotic locations and some interesting futuristic technology along the way. I'm absolutely pumped to jump into this game and hope it lives up to those original stories. Now next up we have a really interesting shooter called Rampage Agents. Not only does this combine battle royale and hero shooters, but also gives you a PvE mode with roguelike elements. Select from a large roster of agents with their own special abilities, join up with some other players to form a unique team, and then either go head-to-head against other players in Battle Royale mode, or battle hordes of enemies and intense bosses in the procedurally generated PvE mode. This definitely sounds like a cool combination of gameplay modes, and if you want to find out if it's actually good or not, there is a demo available right now. And finally on today's list, the highly anticipated MMO Ilysia is scheduled to release in early access this month. Ilysia offers up extensive character customization, including multiple different races and skill attributes. The title's designed to reward exploration, with many handcrafted landmarks. You could journey across this giant world by swimming, climbing, gliding, and even taking an airship. There's gigantic creatures roaming the world that you could face off against, or team up for some raid battles. The game does utilize physical combat and gesture-based spellcasting, and for the competitive players out there, there is opt-in PvP. For the non-violent, there is crafting and other professions, plus player housing, rideable mounts, and even some pets to collect. Now I've tested this game from their alpha state to some of their more recent betas. Now after each session, I've always been intrigued and looking to try it some more. And that right there was all of October's releases, and like I said guys, this month is pretty stacked. Let me know down in the comments which game you're looking forward to the most.
And that was today's video, brought to you by my dad, Mateo311. If you enjoyed it, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here,
Consider subscribing.
consider subscribing.
Consider subscribing.
Consider subscribing.
Consider subscribing. We'll see you guys on next time.
We'll see you guys on next time.